Welcome and all American Cartel members, Anons, Facebook friends, Twitter followers, random YouTube viewer, BitChute viewer, Rumble viewer, and anybody else that might be watching. Thanks for joining me. My name is Julio. I am the Theorizing Theorist, and today we're not going to be talking about conspiracies. What is a fact? I mean, I look up theories, popular theories, and I get all this conspiracy theory talk, and I'm looking more for like the scientific stuff. So top 10 revolutionary scientific theories. But I'm looking for facts, right? That's what you guys are probably thinking. So there's no such thing. Hate to break it to you guys, but facts are theories. In other words, facts don't exist. They're unicorns. And I'm going to prove that here in about 23 minutes. And after this, we're going to go over some other stuff. So the reason I made this video is because there was somebody talking trash, and he's probably watching this video now, but I'm going to block him after this, but kind of hid him from everybody. But long story short, there was a guy on there talking about how, talking in absolutes, mind you, and trying to put me in this box of absolutes and trying to say that I am this and I believe in this. And you guys know me, I only believe in God. Now, sometimes we're loose with our words and we say absolutes when we don't really mean absolutes, like always and never and forever. And we say it jokingly almost, but some people don't say it jokingly. Some people think, flat earth, that's so stupid, there's no way. Well, hold on now. Whoa. Flat earthers are saying that there's no way the earth is globe, and it's like, well, hold on now. Hold on. Do you really know? Now, I argue with everybody. Now, my theories really try to keep it true, and I like to play with these theories, and I like to investigate and daydream that they're real, let's just say. So when I come across these interesting theories, it's always a question of possibility, probability, plausibility, how much potential. You don't even know how much potential it be. It's more just a game of plausibility, probability, and possibility, okay? And how much of it does it really have? And at the end of the day, understand that the more popular theories, even in science, for example, gravity, let's just use that as a quick example, isn't even probably, there's so many variables that probably break down gravity when you really focus and hone in on it, and that it becomes almost like a 1% possibility that's the theory, the way they have it formed, is exact 100%, right? And in reality, like I said to everybody, the fact that 100% facts don't exist. That truth lies with God. Us, we could be dreaming, we could be in a simulation of sorts, but then you got to wonder who's running the simulation and what are they doing. There's always a what if. There's always a variable that you could interject into any theory, and it would throw the theory upside down and on its head and it's what I do for a living, the Theorizing Theorist. So some people believe in angels, aliens, God, extra-dimensional beings, etc. I believe in God 100%. But I don't expect y'all to believe that. But I don't even know if y'all are real. You guys, I don't believe in you guys. I do believe in God. Does that make sense? I know I'm here. It boils down to Rene Descartes, I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. And I know I sound stupid when I keep repeating that, but it's really an important statement in the history of humanity. It's when a man tried to tackle facts. So because much like Santa Claus and unicorns, facts don't actually exist, at least not in the way we commonly think of them. We think of a fact as an irrefutable truth. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a fact is a thing that is known or proved to be true. And where does proof come from? Now, you see lots of people in the Scientific American, I'm a scientist and I don't believe in facts. This is a very commonly known thing amongst intelligent people. Now, the unintelligent, the lazy believe the stuff that they're told in school all to be factual, even history, even the science class, everything. But you don't understand that philosophy class is probably the most realistic class there. So reality is how things actually exist. I find it interesting that reality is marked as a synonym for a fact. A fact is something which is true or false. In all cases, we can clearly say a statement is a fact if it is commonly accepted as one of true or false. I don't really get what that means. I'm just going to be honest with you. It sounded like he was onto something at the beginning there and he kind of took a left turn there, so I don't know. But like I said, we're really loose with our absolutes. What is the weirdest fact ever? Whoever wrote that has to know that it's not factual. What if it's a dream? What if that's simulated? What if it was staged? What if it's a false flag? Stuff like that. Now, truths that we know to be true today, like that thing just said, tomorrow, they're not true. Right? It's happened over and over and over again. Now that becomes, according to science at least, how they work, fact, right? So scientific fact. However, in science, theories are different from facts. And even when they are well supported, for example, evolution is both a theory and a fact. Excuse me? That sounds like some stupid thinking there. Obviously, they're separated. Something that actually exists, reality, truth. Your fears have no basis in fact, something known to exist or to have happened. Space travel is now a fact. Truth. Truth is the property of being in accord with a fact or reality. In everyday language, truth is typically ascribed to things that aim to represent reality. Now, I want you guys to look and see what you could find to be true, guys. I mean, honestly, when you look for conspiracies in regards to whatever you find to be factual, or is it true, or what do the critics say? Look for what the critics say. And they're trying to silence the critics all around the world these days, and I want people to really take note at the people trying to silence them. If anybody comes after me on Facebook or anywhere, I want you guys to stand up for my right, and not only for my right, but for what's the word I'm looking for my generosity in volunteering my time. As long as you guys can do it too. You guys could easily be as generous as me, and thinking of possibilities that refute or dispute popular theories. So it's important to science, to humanity. It's important, I mean, to all of that, to have its for theories and whatnot to have its critics. Because the more critics that can't disprove it, the more it makes it plausible, right? So before we read that last article, we're gonna read this one here, because this is what really sparked this whole video. My frustration of people thinking they know it all. Does outer space end, or does the universe go on forever? Now, I want you to pay very close attention to the date there, February 12th, 2022. Now, this is a scientist, Jack Singal, and I encourage anybody to tag him in this video and tell him he's wrong, because it's pretty comical to me. You know, I'm reading this right here, and then right away I see a mistake, and that's common with these scientists, it seems, and they run with it because they have some backing, like all theories mostly. Like Flat Earth even has some backing, a lot of people backing that theory, but they go and they do the same thing that what Flat Earthers would do. Okay, they hide in their community and they say, well, this is the truth, but in reality, this guy right here is definitely in the wrong, because it's well known that our atmosphere is pretty large, in fact, and this guy, I think he's either saying that the moon is 20 miles away from Earth, or he's saying, well, you'll see here in a second. It can stretch your mind to ponder what's really out there, he begins. Right above you is the sky, or as scientists would call it, atmosphere. It extends about 20 miles, 32 kilometers above the Earth. Floating around the atmosphere is a mixture of molecules, tiny bits of air, so small you can take in billions of them every time you breathe. So, oops. We have recently discovered that the moon is in fact in our atmosphere. Our atmosphere expands way past what we ever dreamt. Again, science evolves, as they say. Observations made by the SOHO spacecraft over 20 years ago led to a new discovery. The Earth has a hydrogen envelope, a layer we would call it, as part of its outer atmosphere called the geocorona. So that's a layer of the atmosphere called the geocorona. You heard it here first, y'all. February 24th, 2019. What's wrong with this guy? The geocorona stretches well past the moon, reveals a study. So now this guy's claiming that that's 20 miles away, apparently. Now, obviously, I'm being facetious, right? But it just goes to show you that we really don't know a freaking thing. And every time we try to nail something down, God says, oops, right? Okay, so every time you breathe, he goes, above the atmosphere is space. It's called that because it has far fewer molecules with lots of empty space between them. So in case there was any, Anyway, have you ever wondered what it would be like to travel to outer space and then keep going? What would you find? Scientists like me are able to explain a lot of what you'd see, but there are some things we don't know yet, like whether space just goes on forever. What do you really know, though? That's the argument. You don't know anything, Mr. Scientist. You're not God. Planets, stars, and galaxies. At the beginning of your trip through space, you might recognize some of the sights. The Earth is part of a group of planets that all orbit the sun, with some orbiting asteroids and comets mixed in too. Sorry about that. You might know that the sun is actually just an average star and looks bigger and brighter than the other stars only because it is closer to you. To get to the nearest star, you would have to travel through trillions of miles of space. If you could ride on the fastest space probe NASA has ever made, it would still take you thousands of years to get there. If stars are like houses, then galaxies are like cities full of houses. Scientists estimate there are 100 billion stars in Earth's galaxy. If you could zoom out way beyond Earth's galaxy, those 100 billion stars would blend together the way lights of city buildings do when viewed from an airplane. Recently, astronomers have learned that many or even most stars have their own orbiting planets. Some are even like Earth. So it's possible they might be home to other beings, also wondering what's out there. So it's possible. All these things are possible. That's the game. Right? Now, you can't trust NASA. We know that. They put these pictures together. It could be art. It's all mostly artist rendition, and it's a mess. You would have to travel through millions of trillions more miles of space just to reach another galaxy. Most of that space is almost completely empty, with only some stray molecules and tiny, mysterious, invisible particles scientists call dark matter. There's another theory. Using big telescopes, astronomers see millions of galaxies out there, and they just keep going in every direction. If you could watch for long enough, over millions of years, it would look like new space is gradually being added between all the galaxies. You can visualize this by imagining tiny dots on a deflated balloon and then thinking about blowing it up. The dots would keep moving farther apart, just like the galaxies are. Is there an end, though? That's the question, right? That's what we want to know. So you heard his thoughts and theories, but he's trying to pass them off as facts. Now let's hear what he thinks about this. If you could keep going out as far as you wanted, would you just keep passing by galaxies forever? Are there an infinite number of galaxies in every direction, or does the whole thing eventually end? And if it does end, what does it end with? These are questions scientists don't have definite answers to yet, but think it's likely you would just keep passing galaxies in every direction forever. In that case, the universe would be infinite with no end. Some scientists think it's possible the universe might eventually wrap back around on itself. Man, that's stretching the mind, right? So if you could keep going out, you would someday come back around to where you started from the other direction. One way to think about this is to picture a globe and imagine that you are a creature that can move only on the surface. If you start walking any direction east, for example, and just keep going, eventually you would come back to where you began. If this were the case for the universe, it would mean it is not infinitely big, although it would still be bigger than you can imagine. In either case, you could never get to the end of the universe or space. Scientists now, I don't know what it said there. I think it missed a couple. Anyway, the universe, it would mean it is not infinitely big, although it would still be bigger than you can imagine. Oh, I'm sorry. There we go. In either case, you can never get to the end of the universe or space. Scientists now consider it likely or unlikely the universe has an end, a region where the galaxies stop or where there would be a barrier of some kind making the end of space. But nobody knows for sure, right? What a cop-out. What a freaking cop-out. These are all theories, and they're not even that possible. They're like 1% chance, if that, probably less than that, as they say it is, right? Anyway, but nobody knows for sure how to answer this question. Will need to be figured out by a future scientist. Written by Jack Singal, Associate Professor of Physics, University of Richmond. I mean, come on. This is a professor of physics. So now let's get to that original article. We're going to talk to another scientist or read the thoughts or discuss the thoughts of another scientist. No more. Nope. Put it back. Oh my God. I got my kids some Yahoos or Yoo-Hoos, whatever, and my youngest daughter is on her like 8th one. I'm a scientist and I don't believe in facts. The Benefits of a Post-Truth Society by Julia Shaw on December 16th, 2016. They say that we have found ourselves in a world lost to emotion, irrationality, and a weakening grasp on reality. That lies don't faze us and knowledge doesn't impress us. That we are post-truth, post-fact. But is this actually a bad thing? I'm a factual relativist. I abandoned the idea of facts and the truth sometime last year. I wrote a whole science book, The Memory Illusion, almost never mentioning the terms fact and truth. Why? Because much like Santa Claus and unicorns, facts don't actually exist, at least not in the way we commonly think of them. We think of a fact as an irrefutable truth. According to the Oxford Dictionary, a fact is a thing that is known or proved to be true. And where does proof come from? Science? Well, let me tell you a secret about science. Scientists don't prove anything. What we do is collect evidence that supports or does not support our predictions. Sometimes we do things over and over again in meaningful different ways and we get the same results, and then we call these findings facts. And in actuality, that has happened in numerous times. After so many years, something happens to where those even change. And when we have lots and lots of replications and variations that all say the same thing, then we talk about theories or laws, like evolution or gravity. But at no point have we proved anything. Don't get me wrong, the scientific method is totally awesome. It is unparalleled in its ability to get answers that can help us extend life, optimize output, and understand our own brains. Scientists slowly break down the illusions created by our biased human perception, revealing what the universe actually looks like. In an incremental progress, each study adds a tiny bit of insight to our understanding. But while the magic of science should make our... Hold on a second here. Eyes twinkle with excitement, we can still argue that the findings from every scientific experiment ever conducted are wrong. Almost by necessity, they are just a bit more right, hopefully, than preceding studies. So just like I said, we don't know anything 100%. So people that say that kind of crap really irk me, and I really wish people could just be more open to all the possibilities. Flat earthers as well. Like, flat earthers, be open to the possibility that the earth is globe. And I do notice that a lot of flat earthers are open to the idea that they don't know what it is, what we're on. They just know that globe earth isn't what they believe it to be on. Well, they actually believe we're definitely not on globe earth, which is stupid. You don't know that either. That's the beauty of science. It's inherently self-critical and self-correcting. The status quo is never good enough. Scientists want to know more always. And lucky for them, there is always more to know. Just like with Bob Saget. Who knows what the spin is? We hear what they're telling you. We all hear that. We're not dumb, but who knows what the truth is? You need to just look back through history to see the different irritations of facts to make this insight seem obvious. Aristotle thought that the heart was the home of intelligence and believed that the brain was a cooling mechanism for it. Of course, now this seems ridiculous, but give it time and I'm sure some of our facts today will seem equally misinformed. Our understanding can always be improved upon, even if it is wrong. It does not make a preceding insight bad. It is often the necessary intermediate intermediary step to get our insight to where it is today. So it's okay that society is post-fact. Facts are so last century. But let's make it our job as a society to encourage each other to find replicable and falsifiable evidence to support our views and to logically argue our positions. In the process, please stop saying because science to justify, sorry, my heater turns back on. It's on a thermostat deal. But let's make it our job as a society to, oh, I'm sorry, I read that already. I'm not a professional by any means, so don't judge me in the comment section. Falsify evidence and to logically argue our positions in the process, just to justify your argument and using fact as a preface to your statements. These are just the grown-up versions of because I said so. We need to remind each other to stay on our toes and to actually back up our claims, even though our claims will never prove anything to be 100% true. Right now, I challenge you. In the comment section, what do you know to be 100% truth that nobody can argue? I would argue creation, really, but I don't, that's up to God to decide. Anyway, knowledge is like Schrodinger's cat, simultaneously reality and delusion, truth and lie. The role of scientists is to slowly break into the box, listen to it, study it, so maybe one day we'll find out whether our insights are dead or alive. And sometimes I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I'm in that box. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm surrounded by people. I don't know. Anyway, it's hard to explain that part of it. Now let's go ahead and dive into this article. Was written by Julia Shaw, or we just dove into this article, I should say. Now that I bored you with 20 minutes of boring, not boring, I think it's insightful, and I think it's helpful. I think it's important for people to remember that me, personally, I only believe in God 100%. Everything and anything else is only possible through God. So aliens are possible, but I don't know them to be 100% true. If aliens don't exist, that's possible too. All this stuff is possible, and it's important that people remember that. Keep an open mind. The word conspiracy theorist was created or vilified by the CIA, because in reality, conspiracy just means more than one person, okay, doing something behind closed doors, right? That's all it is. And then theories is just theories that involve conspiracies, so something that would include more than one person, right? But that's all I really have for you guys. Be sure to subscribe, like, share, follow, donate if you're interested in by checking out the description box down below. PayPal, a Cash App, and a Venmo link down there for you. If you want to throw me $1 tip, buy me some coffee, whatever it may be, I do appreciate it. All money does stay with the company, an All-American Cartel, as I don't personally need the money, but the company does need the money, as I do upgrades and stuff like that throughout the year with the money that I collect. So anyway, be sure to check that out and tell Shaw, if you see her on Instagram or Twitter, that I spoke very highly of her and am very impressed with her beauty. That is all. As always, guys, you know the routine. To God be the glory.